Welcome to Grow Your UK Fashion and Textile Business with UKFT. I'm your host, Tara Hounsley, and in today's episode, we're looking at some of the biggest challenges and opportunities facing UK fashion and textile businesses right now. How to attract, train, and retain the skilled people our industry needs to thrive. Joining me today is John West, UKFT's Director of Skills and Training, who leads our work in this space. Hi, John.
Hello, Tara.
Tell us about your work at UKFT and the Skills and Training team. How do you support the industry?
Basically, we've got quite a few areas of key areas where we need to concentrate on. We've got to make sure that we try and get a pipeline of skilled people coming through to support the industry in its skills and its competitiveness across the global piece. We've also, with that, goes hand in hand, we need to try to make sure that we've got the vacancies that our members and our industries are looking at filling at the moment, which are some really key industrial manufacturing skills that we need, that we're very short of, and we can't fill those spaces. And I think the other thing is as well that we make sure that we cover everything from the design side of the sector to manufacturing, but also then at the end, which is the retail sector. So we try and combine all our skills interventions to support all three key pillars of the industry.
Why is it important to have skilled people in our industry?
Well, we need to be competitive. We need to keep the lights on. We need to keep people making things. And that's one of the key things that we have at the moment, one of the shortages that we still haven't addressed, but we're continuing to try to address, is that we have a key shortage of skilled workers, especially in technical roles as well. So, from point of view of sewing machinists, material cutters, pattern cutters, textile, technologists, it's all around those areas around clothing, textiles, but also we cover everything from the very start right to the very end, from beast to catwalk. And I think we cover so many other areas of the industry, not just clothing. I think that's one of the key elements we need to get over today, is that we're not just here for clothing. There are many other sectors and subsectors that we cover and support through our membership and our industry. One of the other key things, and it's always been there for quite some time, is the ageing workforce. We still have a very ageing workforce, in a sense of a lot of people with a lot of skills and a lot of experience who are coming to perhaps the end of the careers, and we need to start replacing those people and passing those skills on to the next generation to keep the future makers, the future manufacturers, the future designers coming through and keeping the industry up to speed with the most relevant skills. But also with that, there's a bit of a disconnection between education and industry. And one of our key jobs for us is to try and make sure that we bring those two together. It's really hard, in a sense of, with an industry that has very specialist skills, to try and get colleges or higher education institutes to actually offer the skills that we need to make sure that we can remain competitive. And I think that's one of the problems we have, that there is a disconnect completely between the two.
And that's changing, isn't it, all the time? There's different requirements coming out, things like sustainability, those kind of things that are coming, sort of bringing new challenges, I suppose, for employers, but also, as you said, the educators.
Yeah, I think the recent, obviously we've just recently been working on the T level for craft and design, where we've got a specific pathway in there for textiles and fashion, and you'll notice that we've changed the title from fashion and textiles to textiles and fashion, because without the textiles there is no fashion. So again, we want to try and make sure that we tell young people that the industry is not just about the clothing industry. It's a far wider coverage than just clothing.
You've sort of mentioned it a bit already, but what are some of the key challenges the UK fashion and textile industry faces in terms of recruiting and retaining those skilled people?
I think from point of view of the lack of visibility of the industry at pre-16, we used to have, and especially when I was at school, and I'm going back some time now, people used to sew things, construct things, make things at school. We don't do that anymore. It's very rare that you see somebody making something within the school age curriculum. So we're very invisible and the industry is very invisible. I think the first time anybody will actually come across our industry is when they're actually leaving school and looking to go to college. So I think the lack of the industry at pre-16 is a real big, not threat to the industry, but gives us a disadvantage of getting that pipeline of talent coming through. That obviously then leads to things like, because nobody's doing any making in schools, then that leads to us having a lack of makers in the UK. You know, we have so many variations of skilled operatives across the industry, whether it's sewing machinists, whether it's leather craftspeople, whether it's textile manufacturing operatives. It goes on to footwear, it goes on across everything. And for us, that operative and skilled operative area is one of the key things for us. And I think that is where we, again, linking back to school, is that we don't have any making skills or any visibility to anybody to have a career or want to come and do a job in the industry. So we've got to get out there and promote the industry to young people, careers advisors and tutors from a pre-16 perspective, to try and get us to raise the profile, to let people know that there is a vibrant industry that you could come and have a career in, like any other industry that there is there as well. So we just need to be a bit more in front of people, I think.
That's it. The design side is really well represented, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that in some respects. But you know, like the craft and design T level, you know, it's there to fuse the design element with the manufacturing element, because either side of that, you need to know the other side. So if you're a designer, you'll need to know how things are made, so you can make a profit. Likewise, if you're manufacturing, you can actually decipher a design, so you know when you're making it how to interpret that design. So they go very much hand in hand, and we are very much an advocate of and a supporter of bringing those two together.
How does UKFT support businesses in overcoming some of these workforce challenges? Can you tell us a bit about UKFT's role as sector skills body, for example?
Yeah, I mean, that was a massive thing for UKFT. I mean, going back to 2017, when I joined, UKFT didn't have a skills pillar within the offer, which meant it was quite annoying and a bit sort of, you know, it didn't really matter what UKFT said, because there was already a sector skills council that was completely devoted to fashion and textiles. I think one of the key things was to get the sector skills body attainment, because that then gives us the power, in some respects, to be able to lobby government, be the first point of call for government agencies to come and talk to us about our skills shortages and our skills gaps. The funding agencies as well, who will actually make decisions on how much money is put to provision. And that's across the UK. So that's not just in England. We have the sector skills body across the entire UK, which is great, because obviously we want to try and make sure that there is a consistency of skill being taught. Whatever nation you're in, you are going to be competent in that role wherever you're sat. So that's one of the key things. From point of view as for us, we work with that sector skills body attainment. We work with the awarding bodies as well. So we've got to make sure that the provision, the qualifications are fit for purpose to address skills gaps that are there now, but also what we can foresee coming down the line. We can start to make plans to make sure that vocational qualifications and training is in place, and we're ready to address the next sort of skills gaps that are coming in future years. When we talk to government, around skills and in a sense the level 2 side of things, which we were talking about, the operative thing. It's a challenge for us. We want to make sure that we get over to government that we have skilled operatives at that level, and they are so important for the industry that without them, the industry is really affected on either side, whether design or retail. So I think we've got to get that message over that these people are very much skilled. From that, when we talk about what we do as a sector skills body, one of our remits is looking after national occupational standards. We refer to these as as completely 100% employer-led, employer-developed. We don't do anything at UKFT that hasn't had the employer stamp on it or employer input, because it's pointless. There's no use developing things without those.
It needs to be what industry wants.
Absolutely. You know, there's no use promoting things that aren't going to fit the skills gaps and the needs of employers of their staff. So national occupational standards are nationally recognised. We look after around about 15 suites ranging from manufacturing textiles and so on products to leather goods, leather production, heritage. We look after kilt making. So there's lots of coverage in between there. But they are national benchmarks for performance. So they are statements that are covering not basically knowledge, skills and understanding of a specific area. And it gives you a national benchmark that you are performing a certain task or a job to a national level. And I think that, again, is raising the profile. They are the most underrated piece of development work that we do. Not many people know they're there. It's not just there for qualifications and for training. They're there for, they can help employers benchmark performance in the job and what they're doing. They can be there for reviews. They can be even used for job adverts. So again, they're not just there for qualifications. There are lots of uses for them. But we need to get over that they are very important, employer-led standards, and they're very key to the industry.
Tell me a bit about some of the other sort of projects and interventions that you do. It's a very broad remit, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's took a while actually to get to that point. You know, it's not something you can do overnight. You know, so I think the first thing was the sector skills body. Once we got that attainment, we said, okay, we can start looking at provision, talking to employers and talking to government around what is needed and how we go about getting it done and getting it funded.
And some of the challenges around that, I suppose, are, again, our industry is sort of geographically spread. There's when you say about provision, that's one of the big...
absolutely. You know, again, when you look, and it's not just in England. I mean, there are regions in England that have where we have employers based, but just don't have any colleges or training providers in that region offering the training they need. And similarly, we have the same thing across the devolved administrations as well. So
that's what you're saying around provision.
Yeah.
Sort of.
And I think from that perspective, we wanted to make sure that not only the training side of it, the provision side of it, is linked to national occupational standards. So again, it's all this employer current running through from start to finish. It's employers telling us what is needed to be competent in a certain thing, then making sure the qualifications are based on that suite. Then the last thing we wanted to do, and it's took a few years, it's been like building blocks over the years. We're at a point now where we've got everything in place, is to make sure that the training courses out there are fit for purpose. So we then introduced UKFT approved, which is a very strict criteria of a scoring mechanism to ensure that what it says on the tin, on the title of the qualification, is actually what is done inside of the qualification. So really making sure that the people who are taking that training actually can make a difference when they go into industry. So I think that's one of the key things with UKFT approved. We started off with vocational qualifications. We've extended that now into short courses, private courses, boot camps, and now moved it into higher education as well. So we're trying to make a full coverage of quality provision. And the final thing added on top of that is then our education partners, members that we have across the UK. And that is then also a seal of approval that the courses that are being delivered by those institutes for our industries are fit for purpose. So we need an education partner membership that is vibrant, getting out, speaking to employers and doing things that they should be doing, working with industry, but obviously guided by us as well as a sector skills body. So it sort of completes the
And the
full
education partners membership, those are colleges, universities?
Yeah, private training providers, private organisations. So yeah, we've got, again, we wanted to make sure that every area of training was covered. So it's not just a membership for higher education, it's across the piece. And I think the beauty about that is as well, is that we get the universities potentially in a region working with the college in the region who then works with the feeder schools.
And so you're getting that pipeline of people.
It. And that's hopefully the plan, that we get somebody in there young. And this is where things like, you know, some of the qualifications we've done with the level 1, the entry qualification for fashion and textiles, which we've had in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, but just been launched in Scotland. That's the first entry qualification that links up to the manufacturing roles within the apprenticeships that are offered across the nation. So again, that's open to youngsters from 14 onwards. So again, it's trying to get that visibility of the industry over to young people because it's not there in just the day-to-day curriculum.
It's all about connecting all the pieces, basically, isn't it?
It's
sort of making sure that people can go through that journey and come out and get a job, and they've got the skills that they need, and feeding that back in at the other side.
For us, I mean, like I say, it was either, it is like a jigsaw for us. The first piece was getting the sector skills body.
That's it. So we sit between government, industry, and then the education.
Yeah, I often think that we're from a skills and training perspective at UKFT, we're the glue.
Yeah.
In between from government to training provider to employer, and more critically, the learner. Yeah. It's the learner experience as well, as of giving somebody something that they can take into industry and hopefully get a job.
Can you give us an example of a member business that we've helped in that instance?
Yeah, I think over the last 7 years we've probably we've supported quite a few. Obviously, we work across the UK, so we've done things from setting up, help it set up boot camps with some of our education partners. We know that we've done private training courses on a one-to-one basis. We were working with a very large brand up in the north of England that we went to try and help train their supervisors to be able to improve performance on the factory floor. We've just recently finished an 18-month project working with the industry up in Scotland to revamp the Scottish apprenticeship system and the qualifications that sit within them. So we've been working with ACS Clothing, Johnston's of Elgin, Alex Beggs, to name but a few up in Scotland. But we've also, one of the key things is, and going back to the thing around regional problems, UKFT was well aware a few years ago that this was a major problem, especially around the sewing machinist area that, again, keeps coming up in conversation and wielding. Especially now we've got the Great British Sewing Bee back on TV. It's now prominent again that, everybody wants to sew. And I'd love it to go from being a hobby to actually coming into the industry and sewing. But from that point of view, we knew there was a problem. So we developed, my colleague Celia Thornley, then developed the Production Sewing Machinist online course, which is going from strength to strength. And that's an online course. So that's really good for individuals who want to get into the industry for the first time, perhaps going from a craft or a hobbyist perspective to hone the skills to hopefully get a job in the industry, but also there to help training providers or employees in regions who haven't got that expertise in-house or don't have the college, local college there to help them. And it's also been adopted by a lot of the HMP England. We've been doing a lot of training with prisoners as well to try and sort of get them up to speed, to help them, to give them...
Because they have a huge network of it that, again, not many people know about. But,
Absolutely.
But for addressing those skills challenges, again, they've got a whole series of workshops, haven't they?
Amazing, from textile care, so from laundering to then manufacturing, making things. It's really big, and I think to try and help people who are coming out of prison to be able to relocate and potentially get a job is something that we were really keen on supporting as well. So from that perspective, we've been helping quite a few over the years. It's probably too many to mention over this 20-25 minutes, but there's a lot.
For businesses struggling with recruitment or upskilling, where should they start?
I think, especially with the small businesses, and I'd be surprised how many larger businesses don't do this as well, but the first thing would be right at the beginning is to conduct a workforce skills audit. Have a look at your staff, not just now. There will be skills gaps now, there'll be skills needs now, but let's have a look at there could be a company that wants to expand more and wants to take on quite a lot of skilled operatives. They may want to concentrate on technician level, or even in the design area, and trying to get more development skills into the organisation. So that is one of the key things, is to take that skills audit. But also, once you've done that, give us a shout. We've got skilled team here at UKFT. With lots of experience around training and delivery and employment.
So I'm a whatever kind of business, I can come to you and sort of say, look, this is what I think we need. Where can we get it? Like, what should we look at?
Absolutely. And
where can we get it?
Yeah.
What funding is there?
Absolutely.
That's the hard bit, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, this is where I come back to the glue side of so for our members to be that glue and to take the red tape away because it is fearful.
Well, like the apprenticeship system, that's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be there to help businesses.
It is.
It's hard to navigate. It's hard to know what the scenario is.
And I think, again, from a point of view of the, a lot of employers now will probably just want the main skills to get somebody into up to speed and helping that bottom line. So I think from that perspective, but let us do the hard work is the key thing with this, because we've got the experience, we've got the know-how, we know where the funding may be, we may know the best course. And
there's sometimes charities that there's sort of other ways that you can fund some of this support, can't you?
Yeah. And I think from a point of view of that funding guidance, it's not just around the government funding. Yeah. We do have other opportunities.
But what are some of the ways we help people get into the industry? Because exactly that, they don't know the kind of roles that are available. They don't know where to start. We're not necessarily seeing it. So what are we doing there?
I think the biggest thing that we've done over the past 2 years is create and develop the online platform UKFT Futures. Something that is vibrant, something that shows case studies of people actually doing work in the industry, trying to give people the information to how to get into the industry, to give them an idea of what the jobs are, what those jobs entail, and the kind of money that people will be earning in those job roles. But also giving them an idea of where they can train, pinpointing and promoting our education partners on there as well is a benefit for everybody, so they can see what courses are being delivered and where, and perhaps can map out the progression of how they're going to learn and move through either the educational side of things or then get into the industry. So I think from Futures has been fantastic, and that is further underpinned with all our careers fairs and job fairs that we do.
So Futures is one part of it is website. That's where you can find your kind of what careers are available, what opportunities there are, and then the careers events.
Yes,
that's about going to actual events with pre-16.
Yeah, pre-16 normally. Footfall in the hundreds, if not the thousands, coming through, depending on how long
it's those ones they go to with school, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And we try to make sure that we have not just the information of how to get into the industry. We always try to work with our local, regional employers and our training providers, education partners, to come and support us on the day. So we have the big stand that we have with all the information on. You can't miss it. It's a huge orange. stand. Yeah. Which obviously in the middle of a careers event stands out for a mile.
So you can be, we've all done them. We're there again, sort of next to the fire service or one of the big engineering firms like that, promoting the jobs and careers.
That's right.
On behalf of the whole industry.
That's right. And I think by getting the employers to come and either talk, or we get the education partners to come along, and we have live sort of demonstrations and have a go sessions. Yeah. Where young people can actually sit down and make something and take something away to get that creativity.
And it's just promoting the kind of different opportunities that there are. And because again, when we go out to companies, some of the younger people, they were like, I didn't know this existed on my doorstep. I didn't know that I could have a job and actually I could be doing, brilliant. You could be traveling, you could be doing really technical stuff and again, there's a career path in that.
Yeah, and I think it's also good because, we can, a lot of jobs that may have been stereotyped in years gone by, that was more of a female's job. Yeah. Young lads now are coming through and saying, can I do that? Yeah. And I think this is where we now start to open up the industry to say, it doesn't matter, the job's the job.
Yeah. And that whole thing around creating something and making something and that sort of creativity bit of it, and it's a different kind of job, isn't it? That's might not be, you might not, there are lots of academic options in there, but it might be
We need those making
Yeah,
teams.
there's a bit of...
We need the creativity.
Yeah.
We need this. We need people doing things with their hands and making things. And I think that's one of the key things out of this today is that. The other benefit of the UKFT Futures and the job fairs and careers fairs is that the people who are coming through are encouraged to sign up to UKFT Futures so they can get job alerts and they get information coming through. So I think that's another side of the industry as well. So I think it's really good that we can go out there and try and not change perceptions. I think a lot of the time it's the first time they've seen the industry.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key things with the careers fairs is that we can actually show people that we're here.
Yeah.
We're not Dark Satanic Mills. It's not all over in the Far East. Things do happen in the UK. Yeah. And I think that's one of the key things we've got to get over, I think, with these kind of things. We're also blessed as well, by the way, with a lot of this activity we couldn't do without being linked with our sector-related livery companies and our charitable organisations who actually help and support us along the way with this work as well. So, without those support mechanisms for us, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing out there as well. So it's huge credit to them as well for helping us along the way.
Tell me a bit about how we support some of the other ways that we support new people coming into the industry. So we do a series of bursary schemes.
Yeah, like we said, from a point of view of, and again, talking about delivery companies with this. So we've got some great schemes that offer bursaries for people to come in and experience the industry. There's things in there that we've had paid internships as well. So it's been really good to have those kind of, because what we want to make sure is that people are getting paid for their work and their experience. So I think that's really good. And the bursary schemes have been fantastic over the years. You've got the Young Textile Technician Fund, which has been fantastic over the years, and that's allowing technicians within the textile roles to be able to upskill. I think that's partly a joint thing between the employer contribution and then the actual bursary scheme as well. So that's been really popular. So again, I think we've just got to make sure that all walks of life, from all areas of the industry, whether it's right at the very start with fashion design and product development, all the way through to retail, we try and cover the whole thing and give the experience for the person who wants to go in any of those pillars.
I think we've covered it in a few ways, but you mentioned different ways you support members and the industry. How can members get involved? What's your main takeaway of what members can do,
I think
and how they can access your sort of support?
I think the key thing that a lot of employers often do is think about today. Yeah. And that's really that's the be all and end all. And it's right that they do that. Yeah. I think one of the key things that they miss quite regularly is succession planning. Yeah. And it's all about now and meeting the orders now, and that's great. But aging workforce that we've spoke about, we've got to make sure that they do, if they take anything out of today's session, is to succession plan and have a look and plan out what's needed in the near future, even if it's a 5 to 10 year plan. But once they've done that, as a member, get in touch with us. We're here, we're a friendly bunch. I mean, we've all either worked in the industry, taught in the industry, we've ran centres of excellence in the industry across the UK, and we've got vast experience of what sector skills councils and sector skills bodies do as well. So you come to us with your potential future shortfalls or skills gaps. Let us do the digging. You're busy doing what you're doing to the bottom line and trying to sell product. Let us as the specialists do this work for you and come up with probably, hopefully, the best training intervention that we could give you, and hopefully with some government funding attached as well. So I think, future-proof, succession plan, seek advice. Nothing's too big and nothing's too small, but we have a team here that can help you.
Thanks, John. As we've heard today, tackling the skills gap is one of the most pressing issues facing the UK fashion and textile industry, but it's also one of the most exciting opportunities. Whether you're looking to recruit new talent, train your existing team, or future-proof your business, UKFT is here to help. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more essential conversations on Grow Your UK Fashion and Textile Business.